Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Soka Mom Summit. I'm so excited that you're here with us today. Today, we are going to be talking about motherhood after 35. Now, I didn't do motherhood after 35. After 30 is when I did it, and it was pretty dramatic. So I'm really excited to have Danielle Smiley-Daniel here to talk with us about how to feel good when you do this, because it's a decision, it's an individual decision, but how to feel good if that's the decision that you make with your body, your mind, how to eat right, how to prepare. So first, we're going to have her tell us a little bit about herself. Hello, Danielle. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm so excited for this conversation. This is going to be fun. So tell us about yourself, where you're from, and what you do.
Okay. So my name is Danielle Smiley-Daniel. I am born and raised in Miami, Florida, but my family, my father's side is from the Bahamas. So if anyone ever asks me where I represent, I say there. However, I have a very special place in my heart for Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know what it is. It just something deep in my soul just lets me know that there's a connection there. It just feels like a second home to me. I became a mature mocha mommy to my daughter, Geneva, at the age of 40, like a week after I turned 40. I am a professional affiliate of the American Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics with over 15 years experience in public health nutrition. And I'm a founder of my nutrition practice, NutriDS LLC. I'm dedicated to enhancing my clients' wellness by way of nutrition. This includes education on good nutrition choices that align and value their individual diversity.
Tell me a little bit about how you ended up deciding to have a child close to 40.
I'm gonna be real honest.
So, we like honest.
Yeah, real honest right now. So my mother had me at 25, and I think that I always felt like that was the ideal age to do it. Like she was young enough to still seemingly enjoy her life and had a lot of energy for me and my siblings. But my parents also instilled in me, you want to make sure that you do everything that you want to do prior to having kids because your life changes. And I wanted to do things the right way. So I definitely went to college. I pursued my master's degree. I started my career. Dating was interesting. So that wasn't always the easiest thing, but I did find someone that I was actually unafraid of bringing another life into the world with, because watching my friends or, family and their experiences where they may have not chosen, I don't want to say not chosen the right person, but maybe their values weren't aligned and it became challenging. So I was just very careful with that. Met someone, my now husband, met him in my early 30s, and then, started diving a bit deeper into my career, and we started having discussions about kids. Now, mind you, he was the first person that I met that it was like, you know what, if I have a kid and things don't work out, like that's the guy that I want to have kids with. And it's one thing to think it, and it's a whole nother thing to actually go through with it. So around 35, I went to my annual checkup and my physician was like, yeah, so what are you thinking? Are you thinking about having kids? And I'm like, sure. He was like, yeah, well, you're now 35. That increases the risks of birth defects and, possibilities where, there's challenges within the pregnancy. It's like, okay, so they're like, yeah, so you need to go ahead and start making some decisions. That was such a scary thing for me to hear. I was almost offended because it's called after 35, it's called a geriatric pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, geriatric pregnancy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're calling my eggs old, is what you're saying to me. You know,
It's funny now because you're not in the doctor's office and
yeah,
they're not looking at you like,
fun, you know, and you try to keep a stone face. It was hard to do. I felt like you're
yeah.
judging me because you've had kids, but I wasn't ready to have kids, you know, and so there was a pressure involved. And so I went home, I remember, after that doctor's appointment, and I talked to him about it. I was like, this is what they're saying. And he was like, well, okay, so what do you want to do? Like, oh, you ready?
like, so it's, we can start in like 15 minutes or so.
Hold on. Not quite. So we had the conversation, and I knew that it was me that was the holdup. I was scared. So as a nutritionist, I was already pretty good about maintaining my health. I ate relatively well. I was making sure to take supplements like folic acid, things that you need to do prior to pregnancy to prepare yourself. We were at a pretty solid place in our relationship. Physically, I was good, but I was scared. And so you know what I did? I ended up starting to prep for my very first fitness competition. In another way to, I did.
I still got stuff to do.
I was scared. So I wanted to buy a little time, but also if I was going to have a child closer to 40, then I wanted to make sure that everything that I could control was in tip-top shape.
Okay.
And so at the age of 38, I competed in my very first and placed in my very first fitness competition. And it was awesome. So that was in April. In June, I think it was, that I took my birth control. Like I stopped taking my birth control. And that was the scariest thing. I did hold off on that for a couple of months because I said as soon as the show was done, I would stop. I didn't stop. I was scared. And then I had a lot of friends and colleagues around me that were having IVF because they were older and were having some challenges with infertility. And so honestly, while I was scared, I was thinking to myself, I'm almost 39. I will definitely need IVF. You know, we could practice having this kid, preparing to have this baby as much as we want. But when I spoke to my doctor about it, they said you have to, you know, try the natural way for at least a year. And so honestly, It's like, okay, whatever. And it really was whatever. So December came. And we had his holiday party for work. I can tell you, I know exactly when it happened. Like I was feeling good. He was feeling good. You know, I was looking good. He was looking good.
Okay.
And I'm pretty certain that that was the night that our daughter was conceived. So
I love it.
Man. So in January, I remember going to work and I was running late. I was like, let me stop by McDonald's. I'm just going to go over here, get a hash brown and an orange juice, just really, really quick. Got it, driving to work. It was awful. Oh, the orange juice was bitter and the hash brown, which is always delicious, was gross. And I was like, yo, McDonald's is messing up. So I got to work and I'm logging in and I look at the calendar. It's like, well, this can't be right. Like I'm always on time. Like I'm probably just stressed out. 3 days late. Okay. And I found a reason to go to CVS. I bought a pregnancy test. The 3-pack was on sale. So I bought that, came back, went to the restroom and tried it out and like nothing. It was inconclusive. So I was like, all right, well, I'm worried about nothing. The next day, my physician friend told me, well, do it as soon as you wake up in the morning. Just go ahead and it's like, okay. The line popped up a big.
That thing be bright in the morning. Bright.
I couldn't breathe. I was like, oh my God, this can't. What was I thinking about? Who thought that I would be a good mom? What have I done is really what I thought. And I'll tell you, I was just a little bit selfish at that moment because I was preparing to go to Carnival. And there was this beautiful costume, yellow costume that I had been waiting to play in. And Zika was big at the time. And, you know, so and he has a very scientific background, so he's very evidence-based. So when I did tell him about it, he was like, yeah, Carnival's done. And in my head, I was
It's not a
thinking,
thing.
I was like, I could go out there, I just won't drink. He was like, nah, babe, Zika, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, what have I done, to be quite frank? And I just kind of embraced it. He was cool with it. And I was like, all right, this is what it is. So during my pregnancy, things went relatively smooth. And I was afraid of that because of everything that you hear that could go wrong.
Mhm.
So your genetic testing and blood pressure, preeclampsia. It was scary for me, but I did work really hard to enjoy it and take pictures and do all of those things that made me feel special. But because I knew having her at this age, it may be my only. So I did that. Pregnancy went very smooth. All the doctors that I spoke to in my practice were like, yeah, normally because of your age, we would treat you as high risk, but it's been really good. So don't worry about it. Well, I went, I think I had a doctor's appointment on Thursday, went to see this physician. I was 38 weeks and I rushed to the appointment because I was a little late. And so I got in, they do your blood pressure, and my blood pressure was elevated, as it was once before when I was late. And he was like, oh, well, your blood pressure is raised, so we're just going to go ahead and induce you. I was like, I feel like you didn't even read my chart, because in my chart, you would have known that I said, I don't want medical interventions unless it was absolutely necessary. Now, as a nutritionist, I know there's some people that are just like all natural everything, and that's cool. I wanted to do all natural everything too, but I kind of knew that if something was going on, that I needed to make other decisions,
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't even read it. He just saw that by that point I was 40. And so we had a couple words in the doctor's office because I felt like he was just, pushing me. So I ended up going into labor on that Friday night, and he was scheduled to be on call. So he was like, yeah, we could just bring you on in, call to let the people know that I was in labor. And of course, it was him on duty. Wonderful. So I get in there, and it was just, I don't think that I could concentrate because I felt like he was lingering, trying to get me to do what he wanted me to do. I said I didn't want an epidural. Give my body the opportunity to do what it can. And if I feel like I need one, then I'll let you know. I know I got a timeline. I know I can't say that I want it forever, but I'll tell you when. And it was like threats. Well, if you don't get it now, you can't get it. And I was like, okay, in pain, but okay.
And
like,
I'm not going to be pregnant forever. So one way or another, this is going to be over.
Yeah.
Or so.
And it was a little bit scary also because she ended up being in a sunny side up position. And normally, those are very painful labors, they say, that usually result in a C-section. Mm-hmm. And that was also something that I didn't want unless it was very, very necessary.
Right.
He was like, yeah, well, this, and, not really giving me the opportunity to push or to learn how to push. It was my first baby. I don't know how to push. I've never pushed.
And it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
What they're telling you to do makes no sense.
Nothing.
I'm like, push it from where? Like, I don't. I didn't take any classes.
But I had taken all the classes. I thought that I was doing everything the right way, but it's so scary in the moment because you feel like I felt like I was split in half. It was terrifying for me, And so the nurses are what really, I have to give them all the props in the world. They were the ones that leveled me out and allowed me to feel like I had the power to do it the way that I wanted to do it. So anyway, after his threats, I ended up pushing her out. I didn't get the epidural, and I was able to have her the way that I wanted early into the morning of September 24th. So that was cool. When I had to go back for my 6-week checkup, we had a conversation because I wanted him to know how he made me feel. I know about Black maternal health and mortality and morbidity, and bias when you go to the doctor. And though you may have meant well and was very conservative in your thought, I didn't feel like you considered me or considered where I was coming from or my values. That was
Right.
a problem.
Because in his mind, he may be thinking, okay, if he knew anything about the statistics, he'd be like, okay, I'm going to err on the side of all caution. I don't want anything to go wrong. But his delivery kind of takes away your choice, which is
And
also part of what's missing. So he's probably wasn't getting the whole picture
not at
of
all.
what. And I'm glad that you took the time to say something, because somebody like me, I'm like, okay, I'm just not going back. You'll never know. And that's not, the best way to do it, because another woman is going to come into his office and you've just done them a service by telling
Absolutely.
your story. What would you say made your experience different from people like some of your friends who may have done it in their 20s or even earlier in their 30s, as far as your experience with the doctor?
Well, I would say that prior to having her and actually experiencing a pregnancy and your fourth trimester, is that I was pretty judgmental prior to experiencing it. I always felt like, okay, so you had this baby, you said you want to feel good, you want to eat good, all you need to do is let people help you, and you want to lose some of this weight. Okay, you can breastfeed, you can not eat the chips or the cookies that you keep grabbing for. I think it's easier said than done. The experience of the flood of emotions and the hormones and the what if, and I don't know what I'm doing after everything. And honestly, a lot of the news about postpartum depression and postpartum psychosis is very, very scary. And so, what I would say now is to give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace. This is hard. This is not what I thought. Like, I thought I knew. I don't know. I didn't know at all. And I think another one of the reasons that I had the conversation with him is because of the community that I serve. I
Mm-hmm.
serve a predominantly large community of color here in Connecticut. It's in an urban setting. And a lot of these mothers go to federally qualified health centers or clinics to get their prenatal care. And they feel
Mm-hmm.
that because they go there or they have state insurance, that they just have to give what is given to them. And that's not
Mm-hmm.
the case.
Right.
You have
Right.
all the ability in the world to say what makes you uncomfortable and what you don't like and what maybe you felt like you weren't treated the right way. I'm quick to give people resources like the Earth app. It's spelled like birth without the B. You take the B out for bias. And that's an app that you can use when you're going to different doctors and you document, kind of like Yelp, the way that they make you feel. Like, would you recommend this person to a friend or somebody that may have just moved to the area and doesn't know anything about the medical providers? It was a bad experience, tell what was bad. Or if it was an awesome experience, you can do that too. Referrals are important. Being able to ask someone that you trust who you would be okay with putting your health in their hands. It's a lot of resources, and just being kind to yourself.
That is an excellent idea. Like, I hadn't even, because if you
Mhm.
have to comb through, oh, I didn't like the receptionist, the waiting room was full, they didn't show up on time. But
Yep.
if you're specifically wondering, how are they going to treat me as a Black woman or a
Mhm.
Hispanic woman, I think that is it's an excellent app.
It was a great idea.
It is a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
So, not all of us are going to prepare to enter a fitness competition before we do this.
You're right.
It's just not going to happen. Because, like you said, you have a Christmas party, everybody looking good.
Everybody's
Next thing
looking
you
good.
know, 2 lines. So, what are some of the things that we can do before the Christmas party? Because y'all know it's coming. Y'all know the Christmas party is coming. Quarantine body is not going to be forever.
No, it's
Okay.
not. Thank goodness.
Everybody's going to be looking right like
Mhm.
Thanksgiving, Christmas. So, what can we do? Let's start with nutrition wise, because a lot
Mhm.
of us are in the house, we're eating our comfort foods. What are some of the things that we can do? Small steps, because
So
like you said, sometimes it's emotional
it is.
and we want those things that make us feel better. But we also might want a kid come Christmas party time.
Why can't we
So,
do both?
right, right. Can we do both? How do we make that meet in the middle?
So I feel like you don't want to overwhelm yourself. When I went to my very first prenatal checkup or appointment where they like validate that you're pregnant and they give you the heads up, they are hitting you with all kinds of information because a lot of people don't necessarily plan the pregnancy and it's kind of like, oh, here I am. What do I do? Folic acid is huge. I would say take that maybe at least 6 months out before you plan to get pregnant. Definitely monitor your intake of fruits, vegetables, water, all of those things. For water, a lot of people give different recommendations for water. Some people say half your body weight in water, others will say 8 glasses of water, whichever one is realistic for you.
Okay.
Fruits and vegetables, leafy greens specifically, try to get those in. Um, at least one serving of leafy greens a day. Uh, Limit your sugar sweetened beverages like your sodas and juices, especially juices that are not 100% juice, like juice drinks it's really sugar water. And I'm not saying you can't have any of these things. I'm just saying being mindful of what it is that you're putting into your body. But then I would also want to say that don't make it so hard on yourself. Give yourself some grace with food. Food is not only nutrition, it's not only calories. Food is tradition, it's culture, it's comfort, it's social. So I don't want it to be like this cookie cutter thing because it's not. I would just say build on things that you do that work. So if it was this week, you're like, oh, I just want to make sure that I eat breakfast most days, you know, then okay. If you were able to eat breakfast, whatever you consider breakfast, 4 days a week, then just build on that for next week. Okay, so I ate breakfast 4 days this week. Next week, I may want to make sure that I'm drinking 1.5 liters of water a day. Okay. And if you don't make it, fine. Next day, try it again. You don't want to beat yourself up about it. And I think with nutrition, people just feel like it's all or nothing. Or if I don't meet these goals, or I'm not eating my grilled chicken breasts and broccoli and brown rice, that you're doing it wrong. You're not doing it wrong. You make it what you want it to be.
I know I do feel that sometimes. I'm like, this tastes too good. I
Well,
should
you seasoned it
definitely,
well.
something's not right about this. So I definitely understand that.
Yeah.
So we know how you prepare yourself with your nutrition.
Mhm.
What about emotionally? How
Mm.
do you prepare yourself for that process? Because you've got people looking at you, you've got the judgment, and then also how you feel about yourself. You're not 20 years old and you're worried that things might not go back where they came from, you know,
Yeah.
or just thinking about the amount of time and the patience that you have.
Mhm.
How would you say that you were able to prepare yourself emotionally for what was coming?
So emotionally, I wanted to make sure that I had friends and family that were supportive of my decision and what we wanted to do. I didn't need nobody's negative energy at this time when I'm trying to bring this blessing here. I was going to therapy at least monthly, maybe a year, a little bit more than a year before she got here. And I discussed that with my therapist, my thoughts and my fears and concerns and things that made me happy. I had a space that was safe for me to express myself. I continued that throughout the pregnancy and then after the pregnancy. I'm pretty certain I had a touch of postpartum depression. So I'm so thankful that I had a partner that understood when I needed to take a break. Geneva actually had colic for 13 weeks. I know it down to the minute because it was so traumatic to me. It was every day from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. She hollered, she screamed, she sounded like she was in pain, and there was nothing that I could do. I tried everything, everything. When I say everything, everything. I
Mm-hmm.
probably Googled way too much. I contacted my friends' parents in Trinidad and Miami. I was like,
Give me
everybody,
something.
somebody say something. And then one day it just stopped.
Mm.
It took me a while to be able to make sure that she was safe in her crib and step outside and breathe because I felt like, well, she's mine. She's crying. She needs me. I need to figure it out.
Mm.
Sometimes you can't. That's
Right.
something that nobody can explain. And I surprised myself with my patience, but also, again, I go back to the grace because you have to breathe through that. That it was so challenging for me. I Something else is probably funny to some people, but I'm not a hair person at all. I don't know what I'm doing. You have to keep your sense of humor is above all. You need to be able to laugh at yourself, even if you want to cry. Um, and again, have those people who are more than willing to give you a space to go sit on their couch, go have a glass of wine, go talk about something that has nothing to do with your baby if you don't want to talk about her. Like,
Mm.
you're an individual. You were an individual before she got here. There was
Yes.
stuff that I enjoyed way before she got here that I still love now. She's just, another layer in my life. But if I don't take care of myself, I can't give her my best. I can't give my husband my best. I can't give my family, my friends, my clients my
Mm-hmm.
best if my cup is empty.
Right.
So just do the things that you continue to love to do. I love working out. Now, COVID has made that a challenge because I love the gym and everything's been closed. So I've had
Mm-hmm.
to get creative. And I'm definitely outside more running. We got a spin bike, like that's been helpful. But you have to find something that feels good to your soul to
Mm.
refresh you and replenish you. That's what I did.
So we talked about what you should do nutritionally. That you should try to work out before and probably during, if
As
you
if you
can.
can. And if you can't, like,
If
don't
you
feel like,
can manage it,
yeah,
try it.
walk, walk, easy. And not like thinking, oh, I need to walk for an hour. No, walk for 10 minutes.
It doesn't take a lot.
Mm-mm.
It really
Just a
doesn't,
little something.
especially when you're carrying a whole other person.
A
Oh, your heart
whole,
rate will get where you need it to get in
you
like half
created
the time.
a whole life.
A whole human
A
being, like you're
whole
carrying
human.
somebody.
Yeah, don't. And what's kind of challenging also, I think, is this whole snapback culture. I
Mm-hmm.
just knew that I did a fitness competition. I'm a snap right back too. 40, hormones change, things change. Your
They
body,
change between 25 and 30. I will say
ooh,
that to
it's
you.
a real deal. Give yourself some grace. What you see on social media ain't
Mm-hmm.
real. It's not real. It's airbrushed. These people have chefs,
Yes.
nannies. They're getting full nights of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to understand that what you see, what people show you, isn't all the way what it really is. It's not a realistic picture generally.
So, if you had to give one piece of advice, a woman comes to you, to your business, and she says, all right, I am 34 years old. I am about to have a geriatric pregnancy, our favorite word. Um, what is the one piece of advice you would give her before she even becomes your client?
Hmm. The
You only get one thing.
one thing,
You only get one. She's not your client yet. She's not paying. So give
ah,
her the one piece of free advice that she can.
one piece of free advice. I would say get an assessment of your baseline of where you are right now.
Mm,
where you are right now, mentally, where you are right now, physically, how are you financially, your partner, are you in a good place with that relationship? Um, and understand, and are you certain this is a decision that you want to make, or is someone trying to push you into this decision, because this is life altering. It's a it's a big decision. And so I would just say get a baseline of that and then kind of move forward or not.
Right, because it is a decision, which is a yes or a no. Like
Mhm.
you don't have to do anything.
Right.
So this has been wonderful.
I'm
Now
so
you got me
glad.
thinking back to the difference between having a baby at 24 and
Mhm.
then 30. That
I mean,
thing,
ugh, my
the
mother could
energy
chase
is
me.
not there.
She could chase me and throw shoes and all of those things at 25. Right now, this one
Mm,
tries me, and I'm just like, not getting up.
but it's worth every bit of it,
She is.
right?
She's everything to me. She really
Oh,
is. I think back, like, what was important before her? And while those things are still
mm,
important, she has changed my view of the world
and I
and
love
of
that.
myself. And I'm so thankful for her. But it ain't always easy. It's not
But you
always.
know what? You take the blessing,
Mhm.
right? You take that and just let her change you. It's beautiful.
It
It is
is. I'm not
beautiful.
the same person that I was before, and that's a great thing. I know what empathy is more so than I
Hmm.
did before her. I'm definitely less judgmental. When I talk to friends, I'm like, "Oh, how's the baby?" "She's good. We'll get to her in a second. Let's talk about you." Like, I give
Right,
my attention to the mom. She deserves that.
right, right. And I used to hate when people say, "Oh, girl, you don't even exist anymore. Give me
Mhm.
that baby." And I'm
No,
like,
you exist.
I, I feel okay. I
No,
mean, it's funny, but it's not
it's
funny,
not.
especially when you're emotional about it. It's like, I'm gonna need you to be kind to me. I
You
worked
matter.
very hard for this.
Yeah, you matter. And I'll say that I also, once I had her, and just before I had her, as I was thinking about it, I was doing a lot of research. Like, how can I be a good person to my friend that just had a baby? So I don't go over there
Mm,
and grab the baby. I go with food. Do you
yeah.
need me to
Ooh,
clean
girl,
up?
bring the good food.
Do you need
Bring
to take a
snacks.
shower? Do you want me to hold? Okay, let's do that first. Then we can talk about how cute her outfit is. But what's going on with you?
I love that. I love that. So thank you so much for spending time with us today at the Soka
Problem.
Mom Summit.
No
This is
problem.
awesome. Now, we're going to have you come back to tell us about how to get that carnival body,
Listen.
because y'all are going to see on the Instagram. You heard the backstory, but this is real. This is real. So tell us how people can support you, how they get started with your business, and where they go from here.
Okay, so you can check me out at NutriDS, NutriDS.com. You can check me out there, see the different services that I provide. I have an assessment form that's on my site and live. So if you're interested, you can fill that out and submit it. I'll get it. And I usually respond between 24 to 48 hours to you. We set up a phone call and we kind of discuss what happens next. I have a newsletter. You can sign up for the newsletter to stay on top of what's going on with me, my thoughts of the world as a mocha mommy and a mature mommy. I'm on Instagram at NutriDS. You can follow me on Facebook. And I keep it fun. I keep it light. I laugh. I show you the real. And I hope that I inspire. That's my hope. I try to be a supporter of moms, an advocate of moms, a friend to moms. And you find me there and we talk about some of everything. And you will see some skin because I really do love Carnival.
Look, I'm not ready to meet you there yet, but listen, watch. The motivation is there now.
Let's
I've
go.
already seen it. I'm
Let's
like,
go.
ooh, I might not have all that to put in there, but I'm gonna put something in there.
It
I'm gonna
don't
put
matter.
something.
But it
in
doesn't
there.
matter. Let's get on the road.
Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you are enjoying the Soka Mom Summit. Danielle, thank you. We
Thank
can't
you.
wait to hear from you again. Everybody, please visit her website and check out her speaker page. You can read more about her and get to all of her social media. Everyone, take care, and
Bye-bye.
we'll see you at the next session. Bye.
Bye.